My name is Tara Timmers, and I was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was about 19 years old. I'm now 32, and I wanted to just say a little bit about my life.
My name is Emily Henderson. I made a decision to come talk about this today because I think that it's so important for people who are diagnosed with this illness to be able to hear it from somebody else who's gone through it.
Hi, I'm Alan Weeks, and I was diagnosed 8 years ago with the diagnosis of schizophrenia. I was 29 at the time, and it was hard. I didn't understand what it was, but after I found out exactly what it was, I felt fear. I felt, I felt ridiculed by people, but at the same time, I still found my friends and family to be very supportive, even though they weren't too educated on it.
A couple years ago, I had a really stressful event, and it triggered a major episode. So I ended up in hospital for 3 months, and the longest stay I've had. And I basically took the screws out of everything in my apartment and tore down walls, and it was just quite extreme. And so looking back, I know I needed a lot of help on conflict resolution and different things like that. So they moved me into a group home, and it was so beneficial for me. It changed my life. I learned about structure. I learned how to relate to other people in a safe manner. I learned to cook for myself and take care of myself. And there was always someone there that could support me if I was going through something. While I was in a group home, I went to school for a year. And that support that they gave me, it was like another family. It was like learning respect and learning to provide for myself and budget for myself. And I mean, things that you don't think that you don't know.
Before I was diagnosed, it was really scary. Actually, I'm really grateful now that I think about it, being where I am as compared to where I was, because that was terrifying. The days were endless. The voices that I heard, it wasn't a male voice or a female voice. It was just every time something moved, I heard words. And so the words were like, "You will lose your legs later in life." The voices instructed basically on a minute-by-minute incident. So I would go up to strangers' houses, entire blocks at a time, and I would start apologizing to strangers. And it was kind of a word salad, so I'm not sure. And I also thought they could read my mind, so I don't know how much was actually coming across in English, like what I was actually saying, but I would say that I was sorry for things that had happened, in their houses, and I believed that I had done these things. It was terribly humiliating.
Recovery wasn't always the best thing in the beginning, because in the beginning you're going through a lot of different emotions, dealing with the diagnosis, the stigma that comes with it.
In my life, I realized what stigma was. I mean, I'm applying for a job and disclosing that I have a mental illness and not being hired, or feeling so down on myself. Like, I internalized a lot of the stigma and made it something personal, and I lost a lot of friends. I was very alone for a long time. And I had to change my whole attitude about it once I realized how much pain it was causing me. And I started reaching out and meeting people and taking risks, you know, and I'm very open about my mental illness, but not everybody feels they can be. But I find it very healing to tell someone, and or at least discern who's a safe person. And if someone doesn't accept me for the way I am, then it's just going to be one of those things, like, I don't want to be their friend. I don't want to know them beyond hello and how are you kind of a thing, because some people aren't as deep or haven't had as much of an experience. Stigma is not okay, and we need to do things to stop it from hurting people. So, yeah.
Aside from medication, which is wonderful, I have constructed for myself a lot of other things to increase the vitality in my life, and so that I'm getting the most out of my life, because I am very, very determined as an individual. So what that looks like for me is I go bike riding pretty much every day, and what I get from the bike rides is time by myself. I usually go late in the evening where there's not a lot of people. I'm doing something that I'm good at. I feel a lot of frustration with this illness, like, oh, I'm messing it up, I'm not getting this right. Whereas when I'm riding my bike, I'm good at it. I am riding my bike and I'm sort of in a zone.